Man, the 2020s has just felt like that. That's how it's felt for me. Lately I've noticed there's a lot of data showing that Gen Z is like cooked. Like we ain't having kids, we have doubts of owning a home, stuff like that. And it's not just a Gen Z problem. Lots of older generations are feeling this as well. And this absolute madness, this craziness that is called life, it's kind of crazy. It can drain me. It can be real draining, and it can take a toll. So when people decide to distance themselves from societal norms, I kind of don't blame them. Like people are just, straight up opting out of society, and I totally understand. Which is why I'm talking about some Skyrim characters that have gone through crazy tragedies. And no way am I saying life is as bad as Skyrim, but sometimes I feel like it does feel similar, and it does feel like the end times. There's not much difference between the two games, Life and Skyrim, because both require the player to live in survival mode. Here we go. Skyrim characters that live in isolation. Angie. Angie is actually a G. Like, she's a straight up G, bro. Her parents were killed by bandits, but she got her get back. And now she resides in isolation in the mountains of Falkreath, living her best life. Her best life. She survived Helgen. Now, she's out here teaching her archery skills. Another poor soul who was tragically affected by the chaos in Skyrim. She's one of the best NPCs in the game, though, and I love that. In order to level up your archery, you actually have to practice archery. I love that. She's just a boss. Like she represents, I think, a lot of characters in Skyrim. They have people who have a longing to be a part of a community. Sometimes life is just too heavy, and sometimes you just gotta thug it out solo. You know what I mean? And I think that's what Angie's doing, and I think that's what makes her a really dope character. She's also open about her life story and everything she's been through, and she explains why she lives in isolation, So I really like this character, and I think it's a great example of what can happen sometimes when life gets to be draining, and sometimes things happen that ain't in our control, The Greybeards. These dudes don't give a damn. Actually, they do. They don't want the world to end, but humanity isn't as complicated as freak. So they like, yo, we chilling up here. If you need us, we'll do what we can, but yeah, we'll do what we can from up here on High Rothgar. I honestly don't see why they get so much criticism. Like, if the guards hate when the Dragonborn shouts, could you imagine hearing 6 Masters of the Voice walking around shouting all the time? Yeah. Sometimes detachment isn't just for person themselves, but for the people in society. Detaching but for the sake of others, which is very respectable in my opinion. People are like, join society like us, and the Greybeards are like, yeah, we good, gang. We good where we at. Next is Frocky's Shack. I still don't know if I'm saying that right. Is it Frocky's Shack or Frocky's Shack? I don't know. But either way, I think this is a great example of players living in isolation, desperately trying to escape the chaos. Hamming, the grandson of Froky, was also seen in Helgen, and he's actually survived the dragon attack in the very beginning.
Hamming! Get over here!
Get up, Papa! Get up!
The pain. Make it stop.
You need to get over here! Now! That boy, you're doing great.
Okay, look, like seriously, could you imagine surviving a dragon attack as a child and then being tasked with being like normal and making a normal life for yourself? There's kids that go through horrible tragedies in real life, and it becomes extremely difficult to follow society norms. When your parents get killed and your home is burned to the ground, that can set back the growth and development of a child quite a bit, or anybody for that matter. Hamming is a great reason why we need to normalize isolation and not shame and not condemn those who live differently than normal. You just never know what a person has endured and survived in their life. Next, the mages at the College of Winterhold. I know this isn't just one person, this is like another group of people, kind of like the Greybeards, but I think they are a shining example of an isolated group of people because the college was shaken by the Great Collapse, which resulted in the destruction of much of the city of Winterhold but spared the college. As a result, many people in Winterhold and Skyrim think the mages could have stopped that destruction of the collapse, but chose not to, which is false. Now, mages not only in Winterhold, but any mage, not just Winterhold, from anywhere is likely to get hated on for things that ain't even their fault. I imagine having healing abilities, imagine having healing abilities, but not being able to share those abilities because of unnecessary hate. So now you have another group of people who are isolated, but not even by choice. These mages probably just want to help the world, but they can't, unfortunately, due to the stigmas and, false narratives put on them. And, that kind of sucks. I mean, why would somebody try to be somewhere they ain't wanted? I can't blame the mages. I'm gonna go chill here. They're like, yeah, we'll just chill up here and practice our magic in peace. And that sounds pretty good to me. If it means that I gotta be isolated to be myself, well, so be it. But I really just like talking about this kind of stuff in Skyrim. Those are your groups of people who live in isolation. I like applying what we see in Skyrim to real life because it's kind of similar. I know, Skyrim has got magic and all this stuff. It ain't real, but it's pretty similar. The way the world works in Skyrim is kind of similar to real life, and I think that's pretty chill. I think it's cool to observe the differences and the similarities because it is pretty similar,